class. So let's start our today's class, and this is part 3 of your simple question paper 1. Okay, so we will continue the series of the simple question paper of biology. So we will discuss all the most possible questions that can come in the examination. Okay, so let's start, and we have left from the we have completed the 2 marks question, and we have completed also some of the 3 marks questions. Okay? So now let's move what we have to discuss. Okay, so here are the 3 marks questions, and in this question we have to discuss from the 5th question. Okay, so the question is asking about the why do we need sexual reproduction when we already have a sexual reproduction. Also tell the 3 limitations of the sexual reproduction. In the previous video we have discussed why do we need the sexual reproduction, what are the sexual reproduction, and what are the asexual reproduction, and what are the limitations. See, the limitations of the whatever the limitations of the asexual reproduction will be the significance of the sexual reproduction, because these limitations is covered by this asexual reproduction. Okay, that's why the sexual reproduction is came, and that's why we need the sexual reproduction, because there are some limitations in the sexual reproduction. Okay? Now let's move that how we can write in our exam. Okay. Yeah. So this is the answer. Sexual reproduction. Firstly, we will describe that what is sexual reproduction and what is the asexual reproduction. Okay? So here the sexual reproduction involves 2 parents. We already know that in the sexual reproduction 2 parents involved. For fertilization takes place, and because of 2 parents, mixed genetic material present. See, this is the male axle, this is the female axle. They both used to form a zygote, and then this zygote is a single cell, and then the cell division starts. When cell division starts, so there is a lump of the cells is formed, and this lump develop further and goes into a embryo. Then embryo move from the fallopian tube to the uterus of the mother. Okay, and then there the embryo is formed, and by the placenta tissue, all the nutrition from the mother is going into the baby. Okay, then this embryo develops some organs, and when the organs is developed, we will call the fetus. Okay, and this is developed into a whole baby. So this is how the fertilization takes place and how the child born. So that is telling here that it is a mixed genetic material present in their offspring, and this gave a large chance of variation in this species. So in the previous video we have talking about the what is variation. So variation are the minor changes that is happened during the cell division. When cell divides, when cell divides, so the information which is transferring from this parent cell into their offspring cells or the produced cell, you can say. So in this cell, when the information is transferring, so some information can get changed, and there are minor changes, and this is called the variation. And because of the variation, what does variation do? Variation helps in the existence of the life, existence of the species in the environment, because we do not know that the environment can drastically change. Okay, so this is how the variation works, and that is why the variation is important. So the mixed genetic material present in their offspring and this gave a large chance of variation in this species. Always remember that the sexual reproduction provides variation in this species, but asexual not, because asexual in the asexual reproduction only single parent is known. That's why they do not for the variation. They do not produce variation in their species or in their individuals or in their offspring, right? So, which would help them to adopt new environmental conditions and increase their chance of survival. What I have described you, it is written here that the variation helps them to adopt new environmental changes or the conditions and increase their chance of survival. This variation absents in the asexual reproduction because of only one parent responsible for reproduction. That's why we need sexual reproduction. Okay? So in this particular 4 lines, what you have described, you have been described that what is sexual reproduction, okay, and why it is important than the asexual reproduction. Okay? That's how you can conclude the whole answer, that why we need the asexual reproduction. Sorry, why we need the sexual reproduction. Now you have to tell them 3 limitations of the asexual reproduction. So, what are the 3 limitations? That first it is genetic variation not seen. Yes, I told you that whatever the limitations of the sexual reproduction will be the significance of the sexual reproduction, because the whole which has been by the asexual reproduction is covered by the sexual reproduction. Okay? So genetic variation not seen, right? Second, if environment condition change, okay, so the species would not be able to survive. Yes, right. So if the environment change suddenly, so the species would not be able to survive. Why? Because there are no variation in them, and all the species are the same information. So they do not have the information that how to adopt in the changing environment. So they could not survive in the changing environment or condition, and they would be wiped out from the environment. Wiped out from the environment after some time. Because of no variation, disease may affect the whole species. Yes, right. So there is a chance of the disease also, that suppose in this species a disease is spread. Okay, disease is spread, and in this species all have the same information in their DNA that they could not survive in that disease. Okay, so what would happen? That after some time they would wiped out from the environment. But just imagine or just suppose that in this species there is one individual. Okay, suppose this is the individual, and this have the variation, and so this have the variation, so they have the information that how they would be survived in the changing environment. Okay, right? Or how they would fight with this disease which is happening in this species. Okay, so they have the information how to fight the disease, so they would be survived, and after that this individual also reproduce, and their species would be remained, or their existence would be remained. And because of no variation, so it is written here that because of no variation, disease may affect the whole species. Means there is a chance that if disease has happened and there is no variation, so the whole species would be wiped out. Okay, so this is how you can write the answer in your examination. Like firstly, you have to tell them sexual reproduction, what is sexual reproduction, and why do we need the sexual reproduction. Okay, then you have to tell them the limitations of the sexual reproduction. Now let's move to the next question. Okay. So in the next question, the question is asking about the pollen grains. State about the pollen grains and their means of transferring. Where do pollen grains fertilize in the crop? So you have to tell them about the pollen grains, their means of transferring, and fertilization. Where does the fertilization occurs in the flower? In the flower. Okay? So you have to tell them the place. So let's see. Yeah. So this is the answer. So firstly, what is pollen? So pollen grains are yellowish powder. Yes. It is produced from the male reproductive part of flower, that is anther. The male germ cell produced by pollen grain fuses with the female gamete present in the ovule. Right? So pollen grains, how it appears? It is a yellowish in powder. Okay? Now it is produced from the male reproductive part of the flower, that is anther. See, if you write here that it is produced from the anther, produced from the anther. So what is anther? So this is like a you do not you don't complete your answer. This is like a incomplete answer. Okay, so you have to tell them that it is produced from the male reproductive part, which is the anther. Okay, right? So the male germ cell produced by the pollen grain fuses with the female gamete in the ovule. You already know. You have to tell them also. And next line, you have to tell them means of transfer. So what is the means of transferring? That is insects, bees, birds, wind, bridges. Okay? So that's how the pollen grains is transferred from the anther to the stigma, and the stigma holds the pollen grains because of this is sticky. So that's how the pollen grains is transferred from anther to the stigma by means of insects, bees, birds, winds, bridges, etc. Okay. Now you have to tell them that pollen grains fertilized in ovary in the flower. Where does it fertilize? It is fertilized in the ovary. So this is how you can write the whole answer. So I hope this is clear for you. Now let's move to the 4 marks question, which is a case-based question. So let's see. Yes. So the first question is for the 4 marks. Okay. The first question is this and second. So the first question, a population of bacteria living in temperate waters would die if temperature increased. But few variants resistant to heat would survive and grow further. Explain the reason behind. So this is the case. You have that a population of bacteria living in temperate waters, okay, would die. They will be die. Why? Because if temperature increased, but few variants, suppose this is a population of the bacteria, so they live in the temperate environment. Sorry, temperate waters. They live in temperate waters. Now, if the temperature increased, so they all died. But some of these variants of the bacteria, some of the variants, or you can say that some of the individuals can survive. Individuals resistant to heat means they can survive in the heat also, right? So they survive and grow further also. Grow further, because survival is different thing and growing with the survival is different. Okay? Grow further. So what is the reason behind this, that these bacteria would be die if the temperature increased, but some of the bacteria would not die and they survive and grow further also. So what is the reason behind this? So just pause the video and think out yourself that what is the reason behind this. If you find the reason, you can easily you can easily conclude you can easily conclude the whole answer. Okay? So you just have to find the reason. What is the reason behind this? Then I'll tell you. I can. Okay. So yeah. So what is the reason behind this? The reason is variation. Yes. Variation. I hope now the screen is visible to you. Full screen. So the reason, how you can write the answer? You will write like, you will start from the reason behind. You will start from the reason behind, because the question is asking you particularly what is the reason behind this. So you have to start from there. And the reason behind a population of bacteria living in temperate waters would die if temperature increased, but few variants resistant to heat would survive and grow further is variation. So this is the reason. So this is the solid reason behind it. Okay. Now you told them what is the reason. Now you have to tell them what is variation. Why it happening because of the variation. Okay. So I told you again and again what is variation. So let's move to the how we can conclude the answer directly. Okay. Right. So variation is the presence of difference in the sequence of genes between individual organisms of a species. So is presence of differences in sequence of genes. So this is indicating that the cell division is happening, okay, and the information is transferring from the parent cell to their produced cell. So the DNA contains the information, and some information can be changed during the cell division, and these minor changes are the variation. So it is written here that the variation is the presence of differences in the sequence of genes. Okay, so this is indicating the cell division. Between individual organisms of a species. It is because of minor changes in the information of DNA during cell division. So I told you why it is happening. So the niches and the environmental condition. What is niches? What is niches? In the very first video of the class 10, chapter 8, I told you what is niches. So niches is a comfort area zone where you can function all those things. Okay, so niches is your comfort area zone. Like in a house, suppose this is your home, but in your home there also a comfort zone for you, like your room. So in your room you can perform all your activities, like you study in the room, okay, and whatever you do, you just enjoy and function all those things which you want to do. Okay, so this room is your comfort area zone, and this is called the niche. And your whole home will be the environment or the ecosystem. Okay? So these are the niches. So the niches and the environmental conditions change with the time. Therefore, the variations in these species help them to adjust, adapt, and ensure survival of the species over time and with the changing conditions. Okay. So the niche and the environmental condition can be changed at any time. Okay, because we do not know the environment conditions with time. Therefore, the variation. So what does variation do with the environment conditions? Variation in the species helps them to adjust, adapt, and ensure the survival of the species over time and with the changing conditions. Okay, so this is a very important point. This is a very important point. Variation helps them to adjust, adapt, and ensure survival of the species over time and with the changing conditions. Variation also helps as disease resistance. Okay? You have to tell them basically the importance of the variation. Why? Because the reason behind the few variants that resistant to heat would survive and grow because of the variation. So next step would be that you have to tell them what are the importance of variation. Okay. So when you told them all the importance of the variation, that the variation helps species to adjust, adapt, ensure survival of species over time and with the changing condition, and variation also helps as disease resistance. So that's why hence the few variants resistant to heat and would survive because of the variation which they have. Okay, so this is how you can conclude all the answers, all the whole answer. Okay. Now let's move to the next question. I hope this is clear for you. Okay, so the next question is about the when female child born. The orthodox people blame on mother for the sex of the child. Is it correct? Is it correct? Is it right? Give your views on this statement with the scientific reasons behind it. So, in many areas, you have seen that when a female child born, and in many news, you can also see them, okay, or hear them, okay, that the people blame on the mother for the sex of the child. So, is it correct? Obviously, no, it is not correct. Why? Because we know that there are some scientific reasons behind it that for the sex of the child, the mother does not responsible. Mother does not respond. Why? Because the father is the main character behind the sex of the child. Okay, because the father is responsible for the sex of the child. Why? Because this is all the game of the chromosomes. So this question is basically indicating towards the sex determination, which we have read in our chapter 9. It is the heredity and the evolution. Okay. So we have read the topic of the sex determination. Okay. So this question is directly indicating to that what is the scientific reason behind it. So there are the chromosomes, sex chromosomes, which is the reason. Okay. Now let's move to the answer. How we can write it. Here. So firstly, you will start from the blame that it is correct or not. Okay. So you have to tell them that blame on mother for the birth of female child is not right because there are scientific reasons behind it, and that is okay. So firstly, you have to tell them that it is right or not. It is not right, and there are some scientific reasons behind it. And now you have to tell them what are the reasons, what are the scientific reasons behind it. Okay. So in humans, each cell normally contains 23 pairs of chromosomes. Okay, you already know that we have 23 pairs of chromosomes for a total of 46. 23 into 46 because this is in a pair. Now 22 of these pairs called autosomes look the same in both male and female. So in the 23, 22 both in male and female seed, both in male and female. But the 23rd pair, it is the sex chromosome, differ between male and female. Okay? So the 23rd chromosome is different between male and the female. Female has a perfect pair of chromosomes, both called X. So in the female, we have the XX chromosome. But in the male, has a mismatch in which one is normal in size X, while the other is a short one, which is Y. So in the male, we have X and Y. X is normal in size, but Y is short. Okay, right? So female is XX and male is XY. All children will inherit and X chromosome from their mother regardless of whether they are boys or girls. Okay, so if you so if a child has a X chromosome, chromosome, so the mother has the X chromosome, so it is not necessary. We do not know that they are the the boys or the girls. Okay, so the children will inherit an X chromosome from their mother regardless of whether they are boys or girls, because in the mother there are XX chromosome and the male also there are X chromosome. So thus the sex of the children will be determined by what they inherit from their father, not mother. So it is clearly written here that from the male, from the father, it is determined that what the child will be. It will be boy or girl. So if they have Y chromosome, so a child who inherits an X chromosome from her father will be a girl, and one who inherits a Y chromosome from him will be a boy. Okay? And therefore, for the birth of female child, mother is not responsible. So this is how you can conclude the answer, that a child who inherits an X chromosome from her father, so from the father, if the X chromosome, see, one chromosome is already there from her mother, from the mother side, which is the X chromosome. Now, if the X chromosome comes, so this will be a girl, and if the Y chromosome comes, so this will be a boy. Okay, so that's why the father is the determiner for the sex of the child, not the mother. Mother is not responsible for the sex of the child. Okay, this is how you can conclude the answer, that blame on mother for the birth of child is not right, because there are scientific reasons behind it, and that is, in human, each cell normally contains 23 pair of chromosomes, right? For a total of 46. 22 pair of these chromosomes are the autosomes. They are similar in both males and females. 23rd pair is the sex chromosome, which is determined what is the sex of the child. So difference between males and females. This 23rd pair is different between males and females. Female has a perfect pair of chromosomes, that is X and X. Male has a mismatch, that is X and Y. X is normal in size and Y is short. A children, if the children inherit X and X, so this will be a girl. If a children inherit X and Y, this will be a boy. So Y chromosome is from the father. That is because the birth of female child, mother is not responsible, because father is the determiner for the sex of the child. This is how you can conclude your whole answer. And in the next video, we will see the sample question paper second. So in the next video, we will see the sample question paper second with the solutions, with all the solutions, with all the answers, and with all the explanation. And with all the explanation, and we will see the 2 marks question, 3 marks question, and the 4 marks question also. This is the case study. So I hope this is helpful for you, and all this series will be helpful for you. So keep learning, and till then keep revising also. Okay, so let's end this class here, and we will meet in our next class. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.